Happy Squanza, y'all. Salmon Run was probably my favorite mode in Splatoon 2. I prefer cooperative multiplayer over competitive games, but that's just me. Salmon Run is like you're fighting multiple sub and special weapons at once, and demands you be at least moderately skilled with most types of weapons. It was clear they put a lot of thought and effort into it. Splatoon 3 Salmon Run is very similar to the previous one. Compared to the cavalcade of improvements to Splatoon 3's other modes, Salmon Run Next Wave feels like the most tacked on, contractually obligated to be here game mode, and I think it could use some improvements. But first, here's all the major improvements brought to Splatoon 3 Salmon Run. Salmon Run is open all the time now. In Splatoon 2, there were gaps in the schedule where you just couldn't play Salmon Run if you wanted to.
Let me in!
That was Silly Man design, and I'm glad they changed it. Instead of only being able to deposit eggs directly into the basket, you can now also throw the eggs. It costs a good amount of ink to do so, so there's some risk to it, but it helps with delivery, you can pass the eggs to teammates, and you can get back to the action faster. The mode overall is much faster paced than before. Me and Vasco Games journeyed back into hell to play some Splatoon 2 Salmon Run, and after quite a bit of waiting for literally anyone else on the entire planet to join our game, and a few times where the game said screw it, it's just gonna be you two. Anyways, even on professional, that game felt like a baby game for babies compared to Splatoon 3 Salmon Run. On top of monthly gear rewards, there are also long-term progress rewards, different color suits, locker decorations, banners, and badges. Like with versus battles, you can hang out in the lobby and practice between rounds. The number of regularly appearing boss salmon has increased from 7 to 11, with Fish Stick, Flippy McFlopperson, Come On and Slammin' Lid, and Big Boys. These are really well-designed enemies that shake up the dynamic more than the original 7 did. There's some push and pull with these new enemies. Do I kill the lid now before it spawns more enemies, or wait until another boss is underneath it first? I can stay here by the shore to kill big shots and use their egg launcher, but we also need to take out other bosses and turn in these eggs. These interesting split-second decisions are what makes the video game a video game. The number of known occurrences, you know, the weird stuff, increased from 7 to 9 with Mudmouths and Tornado. I like the two new ones because they are very easy to beat. Nice for pre-use in an otherwise very difficult mode. There's a new Kozuna boss fight every couple of waves. It's a fun, yet very challenging, yet kind of BS bonus boss fight. You can save exact waves and play them again later. At time of writing, 3.5 months after launch and after the first major update, there are 4 Salmon Run stages in rotation, which is almost as many as Splatoon 2 had after all of its updates. However, 2 of these stages are repeats from Splatoon 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if the others return to Splatoon 3 eventually with the quarterly updates. But if you need inspiration for future Salmon Run maps, there's also Big Run, where for a weekend you play Salmon Run on a multiplayer versus map instead. I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a private Salmon Run option in the future after Splatoon 3's updates are complete. Salmon Run is also harder at higher levels, partially because you can start at Executive VP 4 levels higher than where Splatoon 2 Professional would have started. Plus, Salmon AI was enhanced to be much more aggressive. Beforehand, the little salmon posed very little threat, but now they're swingers. They trying to kill you.
They looking for the shoot up!
Again, Splatoon 3 Salmon Run is a ton of fun. I am not an expert at it, but I do enjoy it a lot, and it is a step up from the original version in Splatoon 2. But here are a bunch of smaller areas where I think its current form could be improved. Stingy rewards. With Salmon Run available all the time now, we need a way to make players want to play Salmon Run.
In the first 2 games, players would have 999 money and have nothing to spend their money on.
This gives me an idea. They killed 2 Inklings with 1 bucket of water by making everything Splatoon 3 more expensive than a bag of groceries in today's economy, and making Salmon Run the fastest way to get money. For the first 12 rewards, then you just get repeat gear and ability chunks. You can't even exchange repeat gear for money anymore. But if you only play the versus battles, you will be broke. And then the bonus rewards are some of the stingiest rewards I've ever seen in a video game. You gotta get all these scales. You only get scales from fighting Godzilla every couple of rounds, who's really hard. And then you get all these bronze scales that are worthless. The drop rates for silver and gold scales are insultingly low, even at higher difficulty levels. This is like old school Monster Hunter bad. See something you like? Want to change your appearance? See a cool splash tag? Too bad! It will take you months, if not years, to unlock a lot of this stuff. You're a mean one, Mr. Grizz. Give me my goddamn paycheck! There should be a way to exchange scales for other scales, like 10 bronze for a silver, 5 silver for a gold, something, instead of what it is now, which is, oh, we played 5 rounds of Salmon Run, beat Kozuna, and I didn't get a single scale that I wanted. Great! I get that this serves as like a commentary on the unfulfilling Sisyphusian hell that is capitalism, intentional or not, but this shit sucks, bro. It's a grind fest to get anything. It feels like Splatoon 3 made design decisions to cater to the most dedicated 20% who play like 12 hours a day, and the most casual 10% of players who play maybe like once a week, but there's not a ton there for the middle 70%, which is the bulk of players. But that's a video for another day. Egg throw takes too much ink. It's risk versus reward. I get it, and I'm sure they tested it out for balancing prior to release, but no, it takes too much ink. You need to have at least 70% ink in your tank to throw an egg, the same amount as a whole splat bomb. It doesn't consume all 70%, but there needs to be 70% or more to do the throw. So in certain cases, you're incentivized to sit around and wait for a refill, which isn't fun. Egg throw also does damage to salmon if you're so close you're tongue wrestling them. Either egg throw needs to take less ink, or the damage range should be greater, like a moderately sized shockwave around the player. Split screen. I should be able to play Splitscreen Salmon Run locally on one console. This slow death of local multiplayer and Splitscreen in modern gaming is total horse dookie. Salmon Run exclusive gear rewards. Oops, all hats. Hat? It's all hats! Data mine alert in 3, 2, 1. It's just more fucking hats. 7 consecutive months of just hats. Hello? Look, I love hats, obviously. I'm wearing 2 of them, and these new hats are really cool. They reference classic movies. They're much better than the Feet Find Your Foot bracelet from Splat 2. They even gave me a space helmet that you know I'm wearing all the time. But like, can we get some shirt and some shoes so we can enter 7-Eleven? Come on! You said you'd support Splatoon 3 with updates for 2 years, right? And in Splatoon 2, you have 25 months, 2 years worth of Salmon Run rewards already made. I don't think it would be too difficult to import the Splatoon 2 stuff into Splatoon 3, considering half of what's available in Splatoon 3 is from Splatoon 2. So in Splatoon 3, how about 2 things each month? 1 brand new item and 1 old item from Splatoon 2. So when it's a bunch of hats, it's not that big of a deal. At least that's how I would have done it. Improvements to Big Run. Big Run happens 1 weekend every couple of months, where you play Salmon Run on a map that's already in the game, and you get a blocker statue at the end. Big Run is fun because Salmon Run is fun, but there should be more incentive to play it, particularly better rewards. Splatfest, where you're forced to play only Turf War, give out sea snails, which are needed for gear customization and improvement. In Big Run, you can get up to 4 super bonuses instead of the usual 2, a locker decoration, and a badge for your tag if you do well enough. How about sea snails too for Big Run? Maybe a longer string of super bonus rewards, or just an unlimited string during Big Run. Bonus amounts of chunks, extra scales for Kozuna fights, or scales after every cleared round. Something, man, come on! One idea we talked about on stream would be, instead of Big Run being on existing stages, how about it's used to introduce new stages? Fight off the salmon, then you could use it in Turf War and Ranked. That'd be pretty cool. Also, the Splatsville Plaza itself would be a funny place for the final Big Run. It would not work, but it would be funny. It would also be cool if there was a new type of enemy or wave or any new type of gameplay that happens during Big Run instead of what's already in the game. Drama time. Breaking news, it's drama time. A few people were actually upset that, at the end of Big Run, they didn't get in the top 5% highest score in the entire world of Splatoon players. I'm sorry you had to find out via the funny Squid Game that you won't be the best in the world at everything, including a video game. Players have been grinding out higher and higher Salmon Run scores for years in the previous game. Of course they'll be better than you. In addition, the only difference is a gold chombo instead of a silver or bronze or green chombo. Do people actually care about the locker decorations? Back to the actual video. Better weapon variety balance in each rotation. Bro, some of these weapon rotations are doo-doo garbage. Having it not be perfectly balanced, as all things should be, does add some variety to each shift, but there shouldn't be like a Splatling and a Charger and another Splatling all together, like, huh? Some of these regular rotations are almost as bad as the random rotations. Group photo. You know how in Splatfest you get a group photo if you win 100 times battle? After you beat a Kozuna, you should get a group photo on the wall of the Salmon Run lobby, like Employees of the Month or something. Recon mode. You can recon multiplayer maps, but not Salmon Run maps? You should be able to do that. And of course that comes with photo mode, and group photo mode, and amiibo photo mode. Why are photo poses locked behind having amiibo? Watch replays. You can see replays in battles, you should be able to see replays in Salmon Run. This way players can watch from the sky, share replay codes, and really learn how to play. Because some of these teammates I've been getting, even in executive, oh my god, it's like they never played the game before, come on! Frame rate disintegration. Considering it almost never happened in Splatoon 2, a very similar game, the frame rate in Splatoon 3 Salmon Run lags more than you think it would, but it could just be due to the new lighting engine and having to live render transparency effects. And to be fair, there already have been some small improvements to lag caused by certain situations, like using the inkjet over egg basket used to make the frame rate absolutely plummet. Plus, there have been updates to fix actual issues, like Mudmouth Wave was completely broken and unplayable at launch. Bombs would bounce out of flyfish containers all the time because this game likes to cheat. Now that only happens some of the time. Great! Major Dream updates. I'm sure Salmon Run will get more updates over time, like new maps, cool monthly gear rewards, maybe even new types of king salmon. But instead of only additional content, what Salmon Run really could have used is a revamp. And look, I'm not a Splatoon 3 game designer. This section of the video is glorified game design fan fiction, but here's how I would have done it. My changes would be a slightly larger scope for this project component, which may or may not have been in the budget or more realistically, the development schedule for Splatoon 3, but I don't think it will be outside the realm of possibility either. First up, abilities and customization. You know how in multiplayer battles you have abilities on your clothes that power you up? Why not put that in Salmon Run too? You know, Splatoon 3 Hero Mode had an entire skill tree you fill out during the campaign. I don't think you need all that for Salmon Run, but some main abilities would definitely help. I would tie each ability to a different color suit and let you mix and match between different color hats, vests, and boots. Just spitballing here, the default one can either be quick respawn or comeback, then yellow suit for main saver, blue for sub saver and sub power, green for ink recovery, pink for run speed, black for damage up, main power up for certain weapons, especially that new big swig roller that sucks ass at damaging anything, white for either tenacity or last ditch effort that powers you up when there's 30 seconds left or 7 or more boss salmon on the field, I don't know. More color suits would be gradually introduced to add more ability options in the pool. This would give more meaning to the decisions of what suit you choose for each shift than just what color you like best. I mean, in an ideal world, abilities would be completely independent to suit color, and you could easily equip what you want while looking however you want. But for whatever reason, the Splatoon series does not like easy transmog, so... And what about the visual expression inherent to customization? Well, you know all these stickers you unlock for your locker? You should be able to slap and wrap those bad boys on your slop suits, almost like a NASCAR driver. Salmon Run badges you can unlock, pins on your suit like war medals or Pokemon gym badges, and have different versions of the slop suit outside of just different color, for example, the ones from Splatoon 2. Plus, some of the Splatoon 2 Salmon rewards look like they could be worn as an actual Salmon Run work outfit. Or maybe let me wear these Salmon Run hat rewards in Salmon Run. I do think that the different color suits were partially intended as a quick reference for experience levels in Salmon Run. Like if you're in a lobby with someone in a black or white suit, then you know they're more experienced. Not necessarily better, but more experienced. But I feel like medals or suit decorations could distinguish that too. My other big change, endless mode. I like my Salmon Run how I like my mimosas, bottomless. This would be a separate Salmon Run mode, similar to X Battle, that you unlock once you reach either Professional or Executive VP. Instead of 3 waves at a time then reset, in Endless mode, you play wave after wave until you either die or fail. There are already top level Salmon Run players who could probably do that for hours, so instead you could cap it at like 2 hours when the maps rotate, which would be a maximum of around 70 or 80 waves. And on top of increasingly higher and higher quotas and difficulty, we're gonna throw an extra wrench into it and take inspiration from the roguelike genre, specifically Hades. Hades is the perfect game. How do I know? Boom! After every room you clear in Hades, you get to choose between 3 different god buffs to your abilities. But there's one god, Chaos. The god of Chaos. Who will give you a buff and a debuff. Well, Splatoon 3 is supposedly all about chaos, right? In Endless Salmon Run, we're gonna do something similar. First, you clear 3 waves, then the voting rounds start. Players will have 3 randomized conditions to choose from that will affect the players and or the salmon, and each player will have 20 seconds to vote on which one they want. I'd make it so there's a positive and negative condition in every option, so you really have to weigh the pros and cons of each. For example, next wave there's a decreased chance of flyfish, but also egg throw takes 10% more ink. Everyone gets Grizzco weapons, but you have to clear 2 Kozunas, I don't know. Certain buffs and debuffs could stack with each other across waves because that would be really funny. You'd have little icons in the corner to show what effects are currently active. Just to make it sort of fair, players would get 1 special restored after every round, and to prevent it from getting too boring, there's a greater selection of weapons to choose from. Maybe a pool of 8 weapons instead of the usual 4, but after you use a weapon, it's on a cooldown for a few waves, so you have to mix it up a little. Some drawbacks to this mode include matchmaking would be tough, especially if someone gets disconnected partway through, or just needs to stop playing. Maybe there could be a helper bonus bonus if you join someone else's high-level run partway through. Plus, Splatoon modes were more designed for quick play sessions, not several hour-long runs, so this would go against that philosophy. Plus, you'd need good rewards for this mode, something Salmon Run already kinda struggles with. These could be unique badges, unique clothes, special medals for your outfit, I don't know. But the mode itself sounds like it would shake up the current dynamic of Salmon Run. The other idea I had for an endless mode would literally be one wave, the salmon keep coming until you all die, and you see how long you can last. But I'm not sure how well that would work, and I like the first idea better. Make your own video. Viewer Corner. Now comes the part where viewers can write into the show. I posted on Twitter asking if anyone has any suggestions for improvements to Salmon Run, not expecting too many responses, and then it received over 500 replies in 24 hours. So people have some opinions. I'll talk about a few of them, and I'll link the thread below if anyone else wants to check it out while Twitter still exists. First up, we received a message from fake gamer Koramora. She plays Animal Crossing, not Splatoon, I don't know what she's doing here. She says, increase the reliability of certain specials. True, there have definitely been times where my special does literally nothing, like my wave breaker gets broken immediately by a salmon who weren't even going for it, or I use killer whale to try to revive my teammates and it aims at nothing important and we lose. Specials should work a little bit better in Salmon Run than they do in versus battles. For example, wave breaker should have way higher durability and should keep going even if all 4 players are dead. Killer whale does that. A lot of the posts were buffs for certain weapons or nerfs to certain salmon or removal of certain things. I won't touch on those. I did see some frustration about flyfish. Luckily for y'all, I already have a whole video about flyfish. Many people posted about bringing back some of the specials from the previous game, specifically Splashdown, which is already in the single player, Bomb Rush, which I mean Splatoon 3 is already laggy enough. It might get even worse with 15 bombs suddenly showing up, and Stingray, although Killer Whale already fills that same niche, sounds like some people would prefer manual control over it. Also, many people wanted Ultra Stamp brought into Salmon Run, which yeah, I think that would be pretty useful in Salmon Run. And while we're in the realm of fuck it, maybe even bring in Splatoon 1 specials like Bubbler and Kraken for sure would be useful. I feel like Salmon Run would be a good way of preserving legacy game mechanics without disrupting the delicate balance of the versus modes. Some people said if you've previously reached higher ranks before an executive VP, you should be able to rank up faster. Yeah, if you've gotten an EVP level 400 up to hazard level max and beyond improving your skill, it kinda sucks having to start all the way over at EVP 40 a day later and grind all the way back up there 20 points at a time. Maybe if you've already received a stamp for a map, maybe you could increase the points by 40 for a wave 3 win instead of by 20, or at least start at a higher number between rotations. Another inspiration from Hades, a pact of punishment at the start. Basically in Hades, once you were cool enough, you could manually increase the difficulty in specific ways, but also get better rewards from doing so and winning. This also kind of reminds me of the Hell's Cauldron that's been in Sakurai games, so a similar mechanic could work in Salmon Run with friends. And I think that's it. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe. Comment below with what changes and improvements you want to see in Splatoon 3 Salmon Run, and today's comment code word is fishy. Comment fishy if you made it all the way through the video, and that's it, video's over.